Good morning, everybody. It is time for Tao of the Day. I'm your host, Martin John, the Recovery Mentor, and it is my birthday. And because it's my birthday, and it's my 47th birthday, so what that means for those of you in the States is that I am beginning. Today is the first day of my 48th year. So it being my 47th birthday just means that I have completed 47 years. And so I'm beginning my 48th. So because of that, I am going to pick number 48 this morning. If you have a number you'd like to pick in Tao of the Day, please step up to the stage. What this is I read through the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written about 600 BCE. That was the time that scholars say that the Old Testament was written. This text comes out of China and presumably written by Lao Tzu, who could have been an accountant or a librarian, or something of that nature. He was working for the state, and he was leaving. He wanted to leave the precept, and when he was doing that, the king or the person who was running the area said, "Hey, you're one of our smartest people. We don't want you to leave, but if you're gonna leave, would you leave behind some rules on how we can live a better life and how we can live more reasonably, because you are so wise." And he left these 81 chapters. So I'm going to pick 48 today. And if you have a number burning a hole in your chest, please come on up and I would love to share the Tao Te Ching with you. 48 says, "In the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the practice of Tao, every day something is dropped. Less and less do you need to force things until finally you arrive at non-action. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. True mastery can be gained by letting things go their own way. It can't be gained by interfering." So as I begin the 48th year of my life, I look at 48 and I see a good one. But there's never a time when I look at the Tao and never say, "Oh, that's a good one." But in the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the practice of the Tao, every day something is dropped. Less and less do you need to force things until finally you arrive at non-action. When nothing is done, well, nothing is left undone. True mastery can be gained by letting things go their own way. It can't be gained by interfering. So that's it. Like that's this is why I like the Stephen Mitchell translation so much. It's really, what else can you say? But we're going to go through it and we're going to look at it, right? So for me, this is just like, hey, sit on your hands a bit. Don't try and fill your life with doing. Don't try and fill your life with getting stuff. Don't try and fill your life with things. Like, your life is full. You were born and your life was full. Yeah, got your. Yeah, I mean, I got my panda planner. I got all the things that I want to do, and I got stuff. I got to organize. I'm out here in Tennessee, hanging out with Catherine Mahoney, and we're going out because Catherine and I have the same birthday. So she and I celebrate June 30th birthdays, and we're going out getting free stuff. Yesterday we got free Krispy Kremes and Einstein bagels, and we also got a free Red Robin burger, each of us. And that was wonderful, right? It's wonderful to go out and just celebrate your birthday in some way, especially with someone that has the same birthday as you. And here I am looking at, in the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added, add. In the practice of the Tao, every day something is dropped. It's great to drop things. It's great to not have to learn something. Imagine if you just said, "Hey, I know everything I need to know." Not that you're right, but you know everything that you need to know. And there's a big difference between being right and knowing everything you need to know. Right? There's a huge difference between the two of these things. If you think you're right, then you're not open to experiencing what is happening. You're just, all you're doing is saying, "Oh, I'm right," and you're standing fast to an idea, right? It's something has been added. You added a limit, you added a wall, you added a structure, you added something that is unnatural. But in practice of the Tao, you're just constantly adding things that are naturally aligned with you. You're adding things that, you drop the influence. In my work, I talk a lot about like living under the influence. We live under the influence of our parents. We live under the influence of our economic system, of our education system, and as you practice Tao, as you practice being you, what ends up happening is that you increasingly drop things. You drop the idea that there's a right and wrong way to do things. So I do portraits of people, and I'm actually going to be doing a past life portrait of Catherine this morning. And what a past life portrait is a literal portrait of somebody that she has been in her life, in her experience, her soul, the person that she is. I'm going to be doing this past life portrait, and I was talking to her yesterday about one of the things that I don't like about how I approach the past life portrait is I don't allow it completely to speak for itself. And what I mean by that is when I step up to the paper, I already know I'm going to be drawing a person, right? So they're going to have two eyes, they're going to have a nose, they're going to have a mouth. It's going to be a human being. And if I could drop, like, that's an influence that I have. I have an influence. I'm being influenced by her current packaging, right? She's currently packaged as a human being, so I'm going to look at her past life. I'm going to say, "Oh, you were another person," and I'm going to draw this person. But if I could let go to the extent that Tao requires me to, I wouldn't come to the paper with that expectation. I would love to try to drop that expectation, but I already can tell that, like, there is thought that, like, if I drop that expectation, am I purposely going to draw a dog or whatever, right? Like, is that something, like, I have to allow the drawing to come out, and this influence is still over me. So in the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. Like, there was at some point an idea in my head that said past lives, person. Your past lives are the things and that is a piece of knowledge that I have that is actually getting in the way of my ability to be at one with the Tao and practice Tao. The idea that, you're going to come back as a human being, or you've only been a human being in your past lives, and all of these things. Like, there are experiences that we've had that may exist outside of the human model in our experience. And it's interesting that this is coming up. It's 48. I'm starting my 48th year, you know, and that's an interesting sort of. I was talking to Catherine about this, like stepping up and having a complete blank slate and allowing all of the possibilities in, no matter how many of those possibilities are outside of your realm of knowledge, outside of the concepts that you have already been influenced by. Can you open yourself up to the depth of the possibility? Because possibilities are endless, and yet we box off those possibilities because we are living under some influence. For those of you who are new or just showing up, this is Tao of the Day. My name is Martin John, and in the morning sometimes I sip my kombucha, so that's what I was just doing. I made this wonderful. I'm just going to celebrate me for a moment. I make my own kombucha, and I'm drinking a key lime anise, and it's really nice. It's got this tartness to it, and it's got this really kind of lingering sweetness of the anise. But either way, in pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the pursuit of Tao, every day something is dropped. And I was talking about this idea of me doing this past life portrait and how I have knowledge that she is a human being, so I am going to do human being things. And if I was going to do a past life of a dog, well, would that be a dog, or would I be more open to the possibility of that past life? Maybe being a person, maybe being a bird, maybe, like, I don't know what it's going to be. Can I open my mind up to that possibility? Because without being open to every possibility, well, then I'm not being here present without influence. So less and less do you have to force things until finally you arrive at non-action. And that's a beautiful thing, right? Like, what is that? How does that resonate with you? This idea that less and less you need to force things. I want you to think about that. Force things. Like when I sit down to do this portrait later, right? This past life portrait, I got to be able to be open. But am I forcing it to fit into a model? Am I forcing it to fit into a structure? Am I forcing it to fit into a concept that I already have? I don't need to force things to fit into my knowledge. I can just sit down, sketch it, and it will come by itself. Maybe it'll be a bell. Well, what the hell is that? I don't know. But if it were to be a bell, well, then it's not wrong. But can I allow myself to drop enough knowledge to allow myself to be spoken through? Right? And I think that's what, and I know that's how people who channel have spoken. It's like I am being spoken through. So can you drop enough of your knowledge of yourself? Can you drop enough of the knowledge of who you are to be spoken through? And can you hear yourself? Can you be here as yourself in collaboration with Tao to the degree that you are able to be spoken through? When we have issues in our lives, when we have frustrations in our life, when we have all those things, can we find all of those things, identify them within ourselves so that they are not coming from outside, they are coming from inside, and then recognize that deeper and deeper inside is a true state that we exist in? Less and less do we need to force things. We need to force things when the outside world is frustrating us. We need to force things when the outside world is butting up against who we are. But the thing is who we are is never butting up against the outside world. It's only butting up against itself. And so when we can recognize that, when we can recognize that we're here doing this thing right now, then that's who we are. And then when nothing is done, nothing is left undone. And a lot of people, when they fill their lives with knowledge, they immediately have all of these things to do. You have this knowledge and you want to address it. And this is going to be the theme of my year, I think. I think that's how I want to take it. 48 is going to be the year of 48, my whole 48th year. And then when I have my 48th birthday, I'll move on to 49. Last year it was interesting, so 47 states, without opening the door, you can open your heart to the world. Without looking out the window, you can see the essence of the Tao. The more you know, the less you understand. The master arrives without leaving, sees the light without looking, achieves without doing a thing. Like if I kind of go over what existed for me last year, um, I met the woman that I love. I went on a dark retreat. I ran my first race, and all of those things just happened to come into my life. None of them were, and this idea of the more you know, the less you understand, right? Like that for me was this space of, well, don't try to understand it, just accept it as it is. The master arrives without leaving, sees the light without looking, and achieves without doing a thing. I see that as being very much part of my dark retreat. And now that I enter my 48th year, the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the practice of Tao, every day something is dropped. I want to drop things. I want to drop my knowledge. I want to drop my expectations. Even as I sit down to do this past life portrait of Catherine today, I want to drop my expectations that it will be even human. But I already see my resistance when I look at that. When I look at the idea that, like, oh, I can do a past life portrait. It could be a bird. Maybe you were a bird. Like, that's okay. but I already see in my body that contraction of like, no, it's going to be human. And that's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't like that that I'm experiencing that. I don't like that I'm thinking that, but I'm not going to push against it. I'm going to allow it to be, because if I can allow it to be, and the more I can allow, the more I can open myself up to the idea that it could change. If I push up against it, well, then I'm offering resistance. And resistance or violence or whatever, no matter how well intentioned, always rebounds upon itself. So if I offer resistance, it will give resistance. It's like a wall. The more I push up against the wall, the more the wall is pushing up against me. Right? And so that's the whole of this. That's what I want to do. I want to just be able to recognize that I'm not in pursuit of knowledge. So stop trying to know things and keep practicing Tao. Keep practicing not knowing. Keep practicing this being in this space of not knowing. Less and less do I need to force things until finally you arrive at non-action. I don't have to do anything. I don't even have to change. Like, I don't have to force this to be a human, and I don't have to force myself to not make it human when I do this portrait. I can just allow it to be what it is, and that will guide me to the next place. It's not that I'm wrong. I can see where I lack, but I can embrace that lack until that lack is ready to depart. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. That's the thing. I don't have to do anything, and it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Like, all of that is just judgment. All of that is just sitting on yourself and trying to keep yourself from growing, because you're telling yourself you're doing something wrong, but actually the thing that you're doing is the exact thing you need to do. Now, can you let go of the idea that you're doing something wrong so that you can open up to change? Because the minute you say I am doing something wrong, that's judgment. That's going to stagnate energy. No matter for how long, you're going to just move slower. So this is what 48 is saying. You want to move forward, you want to grow, just let this be right here. But also speak up. Don't let this be and be weak about it. Because maybe I'm going to sit down and it won't be human. Maybe it'll be something else because I haven't done it yet. But if I have an expectation and then hold to that expectation and then say this is wrong, judge it in any way, well, then I'm losing out. I'm losing out of this moment right now. I'm actually not doing so. Something is being left undone because I am dictating that something needs to be done because I've judged it. True mastery is gained by letting things go their own way. Remember, everything that you do is happening for a reason. And if you think about it, you are slowing yourself down. Can you be here? Completely surrendered to this moment. Now, that in specific situations is going to cause people a lot of stress, possibly. But that's what this is saying. I mean, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this any better than anybody else. But we have to look at this whole thing and like the pursuit of knowledge. Every day something is added. Every one of those things that have been added in our pursuit of knowledge, every single one, and we can't identify them all because so many of those are living under the surface of our consciousness. Like, so many of those are making us judge, right? We judge the weather, we judge each other, we judge ourselves, we judge the time, we judge the space, we judge the cleanliness, we judge the flavor, we judge the light, we judge the dark, we judge, like, every one of those things, we judge them as being something, but they're nothing. It's all nothing. And if we can allow things to go their own way, then that's true mastery. We just allow the dark to be dark. We allow the day to be day. We don't have to. We don't have to be like I am. Like this. I mean, I hold on to this. I wake up early in the morning and I want to do my thing. I want to journal. I want to get all this stuff. There's all this knowledge of this makes me feel better. Well, actually, can you just be here now with no judgment and see what arises? And that might make you feel better. Maybe it's not. Maybe it has nothing to do with your journaling. Maybe it has nothing to do with that. But like being more vocal for me and being more attentive to what it is I need and what it is I'm experiencing at this moment is going to be the thing that grows me. It's going to be the thing that's going to allow me to gain new mastery because because the more I'm aware of those things that are influencing me, the more I can let them go their own way. Every word that I say has an opposite, right? There is there is, "Oh, it's daytime." Well, there's a night, so you're judging it as daytime, right? It's like, "Oh, what if you didn't have daytime and nighttime? What if you were just awake when you were awake and asleep when you were asleep, and you just allowed yourself to be in that space, and you didn't dictate what was day and what was night. You just slept and was awake and did things." And I remember some real hot days. I'm in Tennessee, and it's hot right now. Hot, hot, hot. The sun is a beast out there. Um, And I know when I was younger, when I didn't have air conditioning, it would get to be like 100 degrees in Chicago. And I lived in a big space. It was just hot. I couldn't get anything done in the afternoon. Well, then I would sleep in the afternoon, but I also judge myself for sleeping in the afternoon. And then I judge myself for staying up late. And then I judge myself for all of these things. And it's like, this is what we're talking about. There's knowledge of what the day is and what you're supposed to do during the day. And every day something is added. You keep adding things to that list, and the list gets so long you can't keep track of it. But in the practice of the Tao, every day something is dropped. You drop that knowledge. You drop the idea that you have to get something done between 9 and 5. We live in a system. We live in a society that like says, okay, between 9 and 5, this is when you work. This is when you're productive. This is the best thing. And this is lunchtime. And this is dinner time. And this is this time. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I have to keep to all of these things. Yeah, I mean, since I changed my diet, like, I'm down here eating free food, so I'm eating carbs a lot. Like as I am, running around getting for birthday subs and donuts and other things like that. And that's off my diet because for those of you who don't know, like I have a diagnosis of MS and I control it with my diet. When I get back home, I'm gonna be back on my diet, no sweat. But right now, I'm having fun. We're hanging out with a buddy and all that, and it's fun, but there's certain times because those stores are only open during certain times, and like it's like I'm also with someone else, and it's just like, oh, this is the time we have like breakfast, 10 a.m. or whatever. This 10 a.m. is usually the time I would 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. It's usually the time I would eat breakfast anyway, and I usually eat 2 meals a day. Well, she usually only eats 2 meals a day as well, but I had to check in with that because I have knowledge that most people have 3 meals a day and all of these things. And it's like, okay, well, with that knowledge, I have to express myself. And they express themselves by saying, oh, usually I only eat one big meal a day around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I said, oh, actually, that's kind of how I work too. But if I if I were able to just let go of that pursuit of knowledge, if I was able to let go of the knowledge that I have that most people eat this way, the American diet looks this way, or this is what this person might be doing. Like, if I were able to let go of all of that, then it would be much easier for me to have conversation. Be like, oh no, I eat this way. This is the way I eat, and everybody eats differently. But what I started with was an assumption that I knew how she ate, and it was wrong. So true mastery can be gained by letting things go their own way. Can I be in this moment with you, whoever you are, and allow this moment to go the way it's going to go? If I can, then I can allow you to be who you are. This is what I talk about when I talk about mutuality. I can allow you to be who you are without imposing my will, without imposing my bullshit over you. I can just say, hey, you're going to be you. Let me observe that. Let me watch that instead of try and predict. And when I watch that, can I not create a rule for you? Oh, you do this. How many of us say that about people? Oh, well, I just expected this because you do this. My mom, like she likes to text everybody when she's made it to her gate when she's flying and stuff like that. Well, that's fine. One time she went and she didn't text, and I noticed. And by noticing, I realized that, like, oh, I gained knowledge and an expectation. I noticed that I had an expectation for her to text me when she made it to her gate. And I had to look at that. I didn't reach out to her and ask her if she made it to her gate. I didn't reach out to anybody else and see if they got a text to see if she made it to her gate. I looked at my expectation and I let go of my expectation. That's what I wanted to do because it wasn't about her texting me. She doesn't want to text me when she gets to her gate. She doesn't. I don't have to reach out. She doesn't want to. If that's not what she wants to do today, that's not what she wants to do today. I know she's safe. I mean, I guess I don't know she's safe, but I trust she's safe. And if she's not, she's not, and that's okay too. Those are all okay things. It's not bad. We can accept what is in the world. True mastery is gained by letting things go their own way. It's okay. It can't be gained by interfering. And interfering is doing. And if you feel the draw to reach out and do something, that's okay. But for me, I felt that I had an expectation, and that's what I wanted to look at. What's your expectation here? Did you inadvertently create an expectation for your mom to text you when she made it to her gate? Because she has done that in the past. Just because she did it in the past doesn't mean she's going to do it in the future. And that's okay. And this is what I want to work on this year. This is going to be my, as I traverse my 48th year on this, in this mortal coil, I am going to hold this. I might print it out and laminate it, put it in my wallet. I don't know. Maybe I'll stitch it. Maybe I'll make a little stitch. Maybe I'll do a little cross stitch and make this something that I can use as a handkerchief or something. In the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the practice of Tao, every day something is dropped. Julie is coming with me. Julie, how are you, my dear? I'm going to finish reading this and then we'll get to you. Less and less do you need to force things until finally you arrive at non-action. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. True mastery can be gained by letting things go their own way. It can't be gained by interfering. Julie, my dear, how are you? I can't hear you. Are you muted or something?
Good morning.
There you are. Good
I'm
morning,
all
my love.
right.
How are you?
I am in the middle of phew, tidying up, or my favorite game.
let me let me I don't know if you've heard, but today's my birthday.
Happy birthday, darling!
Yeah. I felt it would be remiss for me not to mention that to one of my favorite fans out here.
Absolutely. So you need to pop out there, shout it to the world. Happy birthday, me, in
Yeah.
tradition, because that's what I do every year. I don't do anything else. That's the one
Do
thing I do. Yeah,
you know Catherine Mahoney, right?
I do. Yes.
Yes, I'm at her home right now.
Oh
And
wow!
because she and I share June 30 as a birthday.
Cooey! What a
Yeah,
celebration!
and we are going all around the Franklin, Tennessee area and getting our free gifts.
Brilliant. Do you know
Yeah.
what? Two people, actually, Catherine, yourself, absolutely love you guys.
Mm.
Absolutely. You speak such sense. And I like that.
Yeah, I like looking at, like we are born in the middle of the year, so we are
Mm.
very moderate, like wise,
Like
like
being like being the middle child.
yes, yes. It's always you don't want to listen to the middle child because, but if you do, you get quite a bit out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you just give the middle child a moment, you will discover a whole new world.
That's right. That's right. Oh, Julie, I'm so glad to have lived my 47th year, and I'm so grateful for wisdom. As I start, I'm going to be 47, so I'm starting my 48th year out
Yeah.
here in the world, and I just read 48, and it's so wonderful to have had such a beautiful experience here on wisdom that is just so unique and really kind of helped me in so many ways, and
It's
like
a
really
beautiful
connected me
path.
with so many people.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, it's been a beautiful path because lots of things, especially as you're with Catherine right now, and hopefully she's listening to what I'm saying, that
Oh, I think she's still
intuition
asleep.
thing,
I don't know.
that intuition thing, and that
Yeah.
Tao, it is so important and imperative to me to understand this because it's helped me on my journey. And you two are amazing at it. You've both really been lifting me. So, I thank wisdom for that. The connections I've made have been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is this app has really changed my life quite a bit. I mean, I'm with Andy. I do so much work here now, and I've met so many wonderful people. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so speaking of Tao,
Yeah, let's go for number 30, shall we?
30. Let's do it. Boop, 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 boop. 30. Whoever relies on Tao in governing men doesn't try to force issues or defeat enemies by force of arms. For every force, there is a counterforce. Violence, even well intentioned, always rebounds upon oneself. It's interesting. I mentioned this line earlier while I was talking. The master does his
Mm.
job and then stops. He understands that the universe is forever out of control and that trying to dominate events goes against the current of the Tao. Because he believes in himself, he doesn't try to convince others. Because he's content with himself, he doesn't need others' approval. Because he accepts himself, the whole world accepts him.
Perfect.
So tell me about your boat right now. How's the boat? How are you?
I am suddenly discovering this is another experience that's come along that I have very little space.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're coming from outside. you
Absolutely.
know.
Absolutely.
That's where all the space is, right? Like,
Yes. So my preference, if I'm allowed to have one, would be outside, and it's guiding me down a new path.
yes.
So that's great. That's
It's
great.
so
Even
beautiful.
though, yeah, even though I have physical work to do, that's not going to be a problem. It's not going to be a problem because as I go through that work, that physical work, to gain that freedom again, it's like a reward. It rewards itself. So I can just tootle along. Like today, I've got a plan to move three things. I've got a plethora of things, but I've got a plan to move three things. Three
Yeah.
things that once they are moved, my mind can forget them. This
Yes.
is a thing about taking things in and then forgetting them so that you have the space to do the next thing. And that's exactly what this whole thing is. This is what the whole experience is to me at the moment is placing, forgetting, because that's
So
what I'm supposed to do.
so there's this beautiful kind of connection here. So whoever relies on the Tao, and it says here in governing men. But in governing men is really in governing your life and in governing those things around you. Right? You
Yes,
don't try to force issues and you don't try to defeat them by force of arms. You don't try to defeat them by forcing them into a space they don't fit.
that's right.
For every force, there is a counterforce. So even if you try to You have a lot of things to do, but even if you tried to keep all of the things, violence, maybe forcing them to stay when they need to go, even
Yes.
well-intentioned because you have some affinity for this thing, or because you have some, sentimentality toward them, that's violence. Because you have sentimentality, you're going to force it to stay in your life.
Mm.
Even well-intentioned, because, oh, it's sentimental.
Yeah.
Always rebounds upon oneself. So it's always going to continue getting in your way. And then it moves into this line, which is what you're talking about. The master does his job and then stops.
Yeah.
He understands the universe is forever out of control and trying to dominate events, holding on to things, trying
Trying
to
to
live.
be in control is the
Yeah,
mistake. That's
that's
the
right.
mistake. So I'm not going
Trying
to
to
do
be in
that.
control.
Yeah. I'm just going to let things happen as they will,
That's
because
right.
that is how they're going to happen. And I have no control. And I'm happy with that. I
Yeah.
am open to that.
Now you
Yeah.
are open to being lived by the Tao
Yes.
without having those expectations, without trying to dominate events. Because trying to dominate events goes against the current of the Tao. And so, living on a river, going against the current is going to use a whole lot more energy than just
Yeah,
going
that rope.
upstream.
That rope's holding on for dear life. The tension on
That's
it,
right.
you wouldn't believe.
That's right. Absolutely. And this, like this opens up then to, because he believes in himself, he doesn't try to convince others. And that's the thing. Sometimes when you're holding on to things because of sentimentality, or when you're holding on to things for some reason, it's always to try and convince
Yeah.
yourself, maybe a different self than you are today, and others, into believing that you're sentimental, that you, but like, just because you're holding on to something doesn't mean that like it just looks like you're sentimental. You can
Or it
still
looks like
hold.
I'm being sensible. That's the thing that I
Right.
find is people say, "Oh, don't throw it away. You'll regret that." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, then that'll be the time for me to accept a regret, then, won't it?"
Hmm.
Simple as that.
So beautiful. And I have to say, like, maybe just because it's my birthday, I have to say that, like, I'm so glad that you have taken so much, that because what I see in the way you speak is so much of what I have presented to you, like in
Yes.
different ways. and
Yeah.
and as you kind of talk about this, I'm really touched that you have done so much work.
Yeah.
and
I'm
and
an excellent tool giver.
Yeah, and just that idea that, like, you know what? And like, even in this idea of like accepting regret, it won't be regret. It'll just be like, oh,
There it is.
interesting. There it is. I got rid of that 6 months ago. But like, you aren't. I never regret. And those people that are afraid to regret, like, whoever relies on Tao in governing men or governing issues doesn't try to force issues. Like, that's what regret is.
Absolutely.
Regret is trying to control. It's like,
Yes.
oh, I could have controlled this moment, but now I can't. It's like, hey, just be here in this moment as it is.
Yeah, just accept it. Accept it. It's fine.
Yeah. Because he is content with himself, he doesn't need others' approval. Because he accepts himself, the whole world accepts him. And I love this last line, the whole world accepts him, because although it could immediately sound as if, like, well, I don't need to be accepted by other people, dot, dot, dot. No, 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 no. You are being accepted. It's like you are being invited in. You are being accepted by the wind. You are being received by the grass. You are being received by space.
Yes.
There is no resistance being put against you, because you have accepted yourself. You have accepted yourself. And it's not
Yes.
that
Space.
others, It's not that other people are accepting you, but you are other people. You are the wind. You are the grass. You are the forest. And those things can now accept you because you've accepted yourself.
Yeah.
And there is no regret there because everything is at your disposal. Everything is at your fingertips.
I am everything and everything is me.
That's right. And now, when you can stop, you can do your job and stop, which means, okay, you got three things that you want to take care of today. You want to get rid of three things today.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You can do that in a number of different ways. You can tie bricks to them and throw them into the river. You can,
I
hopefully it's
can
not Brad.
trebuchet them across.
What's that?
I can trebuchet them. I've always fancied using a trebuchet. Do you know what that is? You
Yes,
do
yes,
know what it
yes.
is, yeah. That
Yeah,
that's got such beautiful impact, hasn't it, as well?
it
All the
does.
forces and everything that have, and the knowledge that's gone into making that item to launch
Yeah,
something from. Fantastic. So
yeah.
yeah,
It's such a beautiful, it's like a mechanical slingshot.
yeah, it's a release.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It's actually a release.
yeah,
Physically, you can see that. And I like that release of things. I enjoy that.
yeah.
So
And
yeah.
that's the thing when you let go, which is, you know, which is everything that that the Tao talks about. You do your job and then stop. You set it up, you launch it, you send it out in the world, and you stop. It's not about you controlling it. I was talking to Andy not long ago about this idea that like you create something as an like for me as an artist at least it's like you create something, you let it exist in the world as it is. You don't try to make it be something in the world, just like in your children. You don't try to make them be something. You allow them to be who they are and you appreciate them as they
I'm back.
are. Okay.
Can you hear me,
um
Martin?
yes, I can.
Okay.
So thank you so much, and I hope you get rid of those three things today,
I'm going to
and then you can feel you can feel the Tao within you tonight.
now. I'll be popping out on my little canoe again today
Oh,
and just
good.
floating.
Get out among the lily pads.
Yes. Happy birthday, lovely man, and happy birthday to Catherine as well.
I will
You
let her know.
are fabulous people. 30th is definitely a great day to produce human beings. Love you long.
It's
Bye bye.
okay. Oh, everybody's best buddy Marcy's coming up. The goddess of all things dark and beautiful. Is that right?
I don't remember. That was
It was a long time
Joseph
ago.
said that. Joseph calls me
Yeah.
the goddess of all things weird, dark, and beautiful.
Weird, dark, and beautiful. Well, I'm one of those, so my allegiance.
Thank you. You caught me off guard.
Well, I it's so glad to share this day with you a little bit.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Let's
You
just
had
take a
the best
moment.
present. Julie Hallett was here. I have to honor that.
Yeah, it's such a like every I sat down. I'm really grateful in my life, as I think a lot of people know. And I sat down yesterday with so Catherine and I are going to exchange some of our work. As she did Cards of Destiny for me yesterday, and I'm going to do a past life portrait for her today. And in my Cards of Destiny, she found that Andy is my cosmic gift. Like
Oh
she is a
wow,
reward for me and she is a gift for me,
she
and I
is a
am like,
gift.
so she's such a gift,
She's so
and I
wonderful.
am and I am so grateful for that gift, and it's such a wonderful life that I get to lead. So yeah, so I'm definitely, this is probably so far my favorite birthday, and it's only 7:30 in the
Well,
morning.
you should call me. I will give you and Catherine tarot readings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna be doing stuff, but
Yeah, whenever you want.
I'll see what we can.
I'll drop my number, and then you guys, if you have some free time, give me a call. Today is not so busy for me.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll
You too, Andy. I don't know why I haven't given you one yet. Let's get on that.
let's get on that. Absolutely. So,
That
let's.
was the
You
day.
know what? I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to announce this right now that this is going to be my last Dow for today. I'm just feeling right now that you know what? This has been beautiful. I'm gonna not that anybody else coming up, but I'm gonna end after you, Marcy.
Mm.
So we're gonna keep it short. I feel really good, and I just feel loved right now, and
Oh,
I wanna be able to sit down and meditate on that for a bit.
well, you definitely are, Martin John.
Oh, thank you so
I
much.
think you're everybody's best friend.
I'm everybody's buddy. I love
Yep.
buddies. Buddies all over. I'm down here in Tennessee, getting free stuff with my buddy. Did you know you can get a free dozen Krispy Kreme donuts on your birthday?
You were telling me yesterday. I don't believe it.
Oh my God, I got them. And so I had my first Krispy Kreme donut yesterday. And
Wow.
it was like it was not like crack. Crack is like crack, but it was definitely. I had three yesterday,
Oh,
and
wow.
the first one was great because it was warm. The second one was not so warm, and the third one was just not so good at all. But I felt as I ate three because I don't really eat sweet
Mm-hmm.
carb things. Um, I felt like I was chasing a high, and
Wow.
and and I was like, oh, I gotta be careful about that. But I'm gonna be visiting Andy, and we're gonna get a dozen Krispy Kremes for her birthday. We'll eat a couple and then give them to
When's
the
Andy's
homeless.
birthday?
It is in the beginning of October. I don't always feel comfortable telling people
Oh, no, no,
exact
no.
dates and
As long as you
things.
give
Yeah,
me a roundabout time so that,
yeah.
and if you guys are gonna be here, I would love to meet up. I'll just leave
Yeah,
that
yeah,
there. Yay,
yeah.
Andy! Oh, I love Andy.
Alan, like when Allison said, when you guys are in Chicago, we want to meet up, and we didn't get around to it just because it was our first time in Chicago. Well, not
Yeah.
our first time in Chicago together, but our first time with time, and I do want to hang out with Allison. We would love to hang out with you, and
Stuff
so
happens. We'll make it happen eventually.
absolutely. And I think during that time I think she's going to be coming to Chicago beforehand, and then so I think we're going to be spending like a month together during that,
Oh,
if we're not already, like
I've got to
cohabitating.
get to Chicago. My daughter's in Chicago. I've got to
Your
get
daughter's
there.
in Chicago. Where is she
Hmm.
living?
I don't remember the name of the town off the top of my head. It's just she won't leave, so I've got to go to her.
No, Chicago. It's hard to leave Chicago. I know. I mean, it took me almost 40 years to get to a place where I could even say I wanted to leave Chicago. Now I'm ready, and Andy's in my life now, so it's a little
Mm-hmm.
easier.
Aw, you guys are so adorable.
Yeah, but so let's tackle some doubt together.
I was thinking 57 because I have this friend who always calls me and says, I did this 57,000 times today. And I don't know why she chose
Uh,
that number, but let's do that.
if you want to be a great leader, you must learn to follow the Tao. Stop trying to control. Let go of fixed plans and concepts, and the world will govern itself. The more prohibitions you have, the less virtuous people will be. The more weapons you have, the less secure people will be. The more subsidies you have, the less self-reliant people will be. Therefore, the master says, I let go of the law and people become honest. I let go of economics and people become prosperous. I let go of religion and people become serene. I let go of all desire for the common good, and the good becomes as common as grass. So this is 57, happens to be, I believe, one of the first Tao chapters that I learned about, I knew. And it's this last line that really grabs me.
I
I
know.
let go of the desire for the common good, and the good becomes as common as grass.
I love that.
Yeah. And I always feel like we're always fighting for the common good. Whether it be, whether it be, and I don't want to make this into anything political or anything, but whether we say, okay, like there is a common good and the law should force on, put us in this position of having a common good, and what have you, and the thing is like it's always back and forth. It's always, there's this, the more prohibitions you have, the more weapons you have, the more subsidies you have. Every time you add another thing, because you are trying to hold on to an idea of what the common good is, then people like rear up on their haunches and start to get upset because they have a different concept of what the common good is.
Wow. Okay. It's gonna take me a minute. I usually, I have this thing with my daughter where she makes a mistake and she apologizes, and I ask her not to apologize to me. I'm trying to make that a thing here, so that she understands she can make mistakes, and we just correct them.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to flow.
Mm-hmm.
And when she does something, I have relatives who always like to brag about things they've done, and I did this for that person. And when she does something and she tells me, and I say, oh, you know what? That was really lovely of you. We don't need to tell anybody else.
That's right.
You told me, and mommy is going to keep it like a secret, and I'll keep it, I keep these things for her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can remind her when she thinks she's not being a nice girl. I tell her, you do so many beautiful things for other people. And I remember her. I said, but you don't need to tell anybody. I remember. I said, and you remember, because when I'm not here anymore, you'll remember. I want that to be a thing.
Yeah.
And that's what that reminds me of. Just letting it flow. Let it be a thing.
It's such a beautiful, like, not telling people what you do is something that I really do. I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of just like, no, I'm going to do this. And, I don't need to tell them that I've done this. That's all that's out there looking for attention, or looking to be told that you've done the right thing, or looking to, like, but you can just do this thing. And it just happened to be that I did it. I didn't do it for a response. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
do it for praise. I didn't do it to manipulate. And so it just gets done.
There's a quick story I tell people, Martin
Yeah.
John, where someone said to me, oh, you're bragging. I said, I'm not. You don't understand the story. I was feeling a certain way. I went to buy lunch. I was at work. I went to buy lunch. And there was a man sitting on the corner with a dog.
Hmm.
And the dog put me in such a great mood. I smiled. I said, wow, I want to pet that dog. So I
Yeah.
went back inside to a Wendy's nearby, and I bought him 2 burgers and fries and a Coke. And I came back and I handed him the bag and I said, can I pet your dog? I didn't want anything else. And I don't. I don't want anyone to say, well, that was a sweet thing that you did. I just honestly was not feeling good and I wanted to pet that dog so bad.
Yeah.
And people say, Marcella, but that was a really nice thing you did. You know what? Yeah. And maybe someone else saw me and would say, you know what? I want to do something nice for someone. I didn't do it for anything else other than I wasn't feeling well. And I really, really didn't want to just go and pet the dog. I wanted to
Right.
make sure that I gave him something,
Well, I wanna pause, and you don't need a reason to give somebody something,
Well,
and
that's what I'm
it's not.
saying. So is
Yeah,
it
like,
selfish of me to say it, or
no, but well, here's the thing.
I don't want
This
the
is
praise? It was
right.
just the dog.
And yeah, and I won't praise you for that, so don't
Thank
worry
you.
about it.
Thank you.
Because I don't give a fuck. See, because you could have just walked up to the dog and pet the dog and asked to pet the dog, and it
Exactly.
would have been fine or whatever, all of that kind of stuff, of course. But and this is why I let go of the desire for the common good.
Mm-hmm.
And the good becomes common as grass. This is a good interaction. This is a good exchange of energy. This is a good way. Like, you don't know why you were drawn to go to Wendy's and get burgers and fries. You can logically say, oh, he was homeless or he was this or he was that or whatever. Maybe he was fine. You don't know.
I don't know.
And so you don't know why you were drawn to do that, but you did that. And then you came back and you asked to pet the dog, and you don't know why you needed to pet the dog. Like, you could come up with reasons. You could say, I wanted to pet the dog because I was feeling lonely. I wanted to pet the dog because this happened to me earlier in the day. I wanted to pet the dog because of this. I wanted to pet the dog because of that. But all of that is just trying to make up logical reasons why this is happening right now. There are times we cry and we don't know why we cry, and then we come
Mm-hmm.
up with reasons as to why we cry. But maybe we just need to move energy. So
That's right
it's
there.
that desire for the common good, the desire to logically understand this thing that gets in the way of the good being so common that it doesn't even fucking matter.
Exactly. Thank you. See, that's what I need to hear.
Yeah,
That's what I. Doesn't matter.
it
So when
doesn't.
she does something nice for someone, and I find her doing the same thing I do, saying, I did it because of this or that, and I say, sweetheart, it doesn't matter. You did such a sweet thing.
Yeah. And that's what these last things are. Like, I let go of the law, people become honest. I let go of economics and people become prosperous. I let go of religion and people become serene. The thing is the law, economics, and religion all have structures that give us this false sense of understanding the whole. But the
Mm-hmm.
whole is not understandable. It's Tao. It is endless. It you can't understand it. How arrogant can we be to think we can understand the entire universe and why this thing happened?
Why would we even want to understand it?
That's right. That's right. And then so we say, hey, I did this. And why do I mention it? Because it's worth mentioning. And it's worth me kind of contemplating the whole.
I want to leave you with one last thing. I was chatting with Joshua Blattman, and he talked about meeting people and what two people would I like to see meet. And I said, I'd like to see you meet with God. Because I know that Joshua Blattman would like to ask him the secrets of the universe. I said, and God would just pat you on the head and say, hi, Joshua.
That's right.
I said,
Oh,
now,
Josh.
if I met God, I would ask him, what's your favorite color and what's your favorite ice cream? Because all the other shit isn't important.
Yeah,
But ice cream's important.
ice cream is important. There's a beautiful ice cream place across the street from Andy's. Maybe we can go there.
Happy birthday, Martin John.
Thank you so much.
Have a
And I want to
beautiful day.
say, just like,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I don't know what I would ask God, but I'd just be like, we're a good team. I'd give him a little encouragement.
He might need it.
He does. He's so wrapped up in his own shit so
Oh
often.
my God. Love you, Andy. Love you, Martin John. Have a
Love
great
you.
day.
All right. That's what I said I was gonna leave. I was gonna leave it there. So I am gonna leave it there. Andy, your love, so beautiful to me. Thank you so much. For everybody that's listening, I want to appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for the birthday love, Julie and Marcy, and all of the love that everybody has given me today. Um, I am going to pass your love on also to Catherine Mahoney, who is another one of us wisdomers. She is. We are hanging out, enjoying our birthday together, because her birthday and my birthday are the same, and we set up this uh, and birthday freebies as we run around and get free donuts and sub sandwiches and things. It's fun. It's a lot. All right, guys. Until next time. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna pitch myself a little bit really quick. So if you benefit, I take financial tips through Venmo at martinjohn_Garcia. You can also check out the links in my bio. I am moving my workshop to be a digital product that you can pick up, so it's not going to be live anymore. And I have if you really dig what I do, you and I can set up monthly called, and just kind of start to move into the direction of recovering who you are, recovering your full self, the self that isn't afraid, the self that is connected to Tao, the self that is you, deep underneath all of the influence that you've picked up in your life. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for sharing this Tao with me. Once again, it's my birthday, and I am holding each one of you very close. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.